Hi, I'm Dave. Ford just agreed with my previous videos and announced a brand new policy. I just met Tesla's Optimus robot face-to-face here in the UK, and Cybertruck is already on its way here as well. Do not miss that. Massive news from Catl on a new battery offering a 1,000-mile range and 10-minute charging time. You asked for it and it's now already here. Stick around as Dave takes it on. I've often berated Legacy Auto for just taking boring existing ICE cars and stuffing them full of batteries, cheap tech, and pricing them 50 to 100% higher than the ICE model. That was never going to work. All Legacy Auto do want to get into 100% EVs, but definitely not just yet. I suggested to Ford in a video a few months ago that the best plan would be to ditch EVs altogether right now, switch back to ICE and hybrids to get the sales and revenue going again, but behind the scenes get ready to relaunch proper high-tech mass market budget models after 2030. Well, Ford seems to agree with me. They just announced they're going to ditch EVs and concentrate on ICE and hybrids. Well, good going. You've got 10 or 11 years before the ban comes into force, although before then, ICE will just start to go out of fashion. So you need to get researching, get your supply chains in place, get your EV specialist employees in place, fully trained up, and plan for a major launch in the next 5 years. Tesla and BYD and NIO and all the others from China, they're all producing in the low millions for the total worldwide market. But each year in America, around 14 million new cars are sold. There will be plenty left for you to attack in about 5 years' time. Well, great news from Catl Battery breakthrough. Batteries up to 1,000-mile range, recharge at 400 miles in 10 minutes. They're already in production and daily use. They might just replace solid-state batteries altogether, still in testing, not yet in manufacture. Sodium batteries may not be needed, but might be a cheap alternative. The new Shenzhen Battery Plus, the 1,000 kilometre, 625-mile battery, all exciting times. But when it comes to putting their hands in their pockets to buy one, how many people will choose the budget model with 300-mile range for, say, 30k, the standard range 450-mile for 35k, or the 1,000-mile range top of the range for 40k? I suspect many will simply realise that what they had been saying was utter rubbish, spewed out by the media, but many others will still be claiming, oh yeah, okay, it does 1,000 miles, but I can't afford one, or I can't charge it home, or yeah, but how long will it last before the battery explodes? Well, their loss. Well, the UK looks to be a winner. It's really good news. And we got a company called Wave, and they're developing their own version of full self-driving using AI. They've been doing this way back to 2017, and they're claiming now that Tesla's copying them. Tesla's been through all the other options and have now come out and they're finally on their AI approach. And all that is true. You see, AI learns from experience. The hardware is just what's required to let the AI do its job. The AI learns from experience. It watches, with Tesla's case, billions of hours of actual driving captured by 6 million Teslas on the road on the data that they're constantly sending back. And after watching for long enough, AI then has a go and always fails, but then it just needs to learn how to operate the vehicles, which is trying to copy what it's been seeing on the videos. Anyway, is all this rosy for Wave? Well, they appear to have two massive problems. First, how can their AI learn? You see, they don't have 6 million vehicles. They don't have access to 6 million vehicles, and they certainly don't have video from the last 15 years. Second, how can they adapt this to all cars made by others? You know, Tesla Hardware 4, for example, has recently added a couple of cameras they found they needed. How can they take a 5-year-old BMW or Hyundai that has nowhere near the same number of cameras and no LiDAR? Well, it's a really brave effort. I wish it all the success it can find. But I suspect it will be a dream that never materialises. The goal is absolutely massive, but the route is full of potholes and dead ends. Oh, talking of dead ends, the latest version of Full Self-Drive now includes that if a car goes down a single lane road and then finds it closed or blocked, it will now reverse all the way back to find a new route and far more importantly, alert other Teslas not to go down the same way. Full self-drive is getting bigger and better all the time. By the way, if you want to see more like this, please click the subscribe button. Okay, well, back with CATL. I just have to ask, who is CATL's main customer? See, if we look at the sales figures, last year BMW sold about 376,000 EVs, Mercedes sold about 222,000, VW 394, Hyundai 280, Stellantis, the whole group 142,000, General Motors 75,000, Ford 72. If you add all that lot up together, all the major players, you get 1.56 million EVs. Last year, Tesla sold 1.81 million. So who is CATL's biggest and most valued customer? Yeah, it's Tesla, of course. And of course now CATL and Tesla working together. Brand new partnership, joint venture. CATL is supplying specialist chemistry and equipment to Tesla, and Tesla will then be manufacturing the batteries under license. Guess who knows best what's happening out there? Guess who'll get these batteries onto the market first? I don't suspect it's going to be Ford. Anyway, back to the news media. We just mentioned them briefly, but Reuters really is on the point of getting banned. It's now just a giant clickbait. Historically, it was independent, and it actually had it written into it. No single individual has been permitted to own more than 15% of Reuters, under the first of the Reuters principles, which states Reuters shall at no time pass into the hands of any one interest, group or faction. However, that restriction was waived for the purchase by Thomson, whose family holding company, the Woodbridge Company, currently now owns 53% of the enlarged business. Well, the future of Reuters takes precedence over the principles. If Reuters were not strong enough to continue on its own, the principles would have no meaning, they stated. Plain English, we have principles, but we'll do anything to survive so that we may pursue them if we choose to do so, or we're allowed to do so. I think that's the media for you. Sums it up to a T. Now, Reuters recently has taken on a definite bias against Tesla, as I've reported on many occasions, particularly recently with the headlines, Model 2 is cancelled. No, it isn't. But now they get it wrong in search of clicks, but for the first time they're forced to issue a retraction. See, the first headline they announced was, Tesla is forced to shut down for 4 days in Germany. That now, there's been a revision, and that now reads, Tesla shut down 1 single day to avoid confrontation with demonstrations planned for Friday. You see, Tesla work a 5-day week. Thursday this week is a bank holiday. So Tesla were only working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. The 4 days Reuters counted included a bank holiday and a weekend. Clickbaiting is getting totally out of hand. Looks to find no limits whatsoever. The end result will be a total polarisation of society. Those who agree to the headlines, whether true or false, and those who don't. We need a moderator, and we need redress that really hurts. The UK media broke the law and lied in countless recent royal celebrity revelations, and they have lost repeatedly ever since in court. But the fines are trivial compared to the extra revenue that such lies and misleading statements actually made for them. I'm all for freedom of the press, and they should research and investigate stories, but they also need to be punished severely when they do not do enough checks or choose to ignore the rules because it is such a giant story. Well, maybe I think fine them the total revenue from any such papers and websites, advertising and all, if they fall short. See, dramatic revelation stories, yes please, loads of them. Lies and shoddy research, definitely not. Come on, independent news monitors and various government departments and committees, get a grip. Fake news hurts us all. And I do notice the BBC here in the UK has made a start with it. they've now set up a department to verify the information they're getting and try to track it back to its source. First of all, to find out whether it's fake or true, and secondly, to find out who, if anyone, is spreading it if it's fake. Well done, BBC. More of you news outlets should be doing exactly the same. Let us read the news and read the truth, even if that truth hurts. It's a salacious an affair or whatever it is, doesn't matter as long as it's true. That's the freedom of the press. What is not the freedom of the press is a license for them to print anything they want on pure speculation. So come on, get a grip on this. Fake news hurts us all. Well, quick mention, this channel exists thanks to our Patreon supporters, so a massive thank you to all of you, and it's nice for me to get out and start meeting some of you face to face. If you want to find out more, check out patreon.com/Dave Takes It On. Now, I've had a massive comments left on the YouTube channel asking me what's happening with Superchargers, with the sacking of 400 staff and everything else. So I can't ignore this on a news channel, and while I might be accused of being a bit of a Tesla fanboy, I've got to cover this one because it's such a hot topic. Okay, what's happened? Well, it's a lot more than a lot of people think. First of all, it's not just the Supercharger team of about 400 or 500 people, including the director of it. It's also other areas right around the world. A good 10% of the staff have already gone. They're talking about getting rid of some more. We don't know the exact details yet, but there's a lot of people going. So what's actually going on? Well, let me cover first of all one of the main ones, which is they've sacked the entire promotions and advertising department. Elon has always avoided advertising, total complete waste of money. He says if you build a proper product that's really desirable and attractive and people want it, you don't need to advertise it, word will spread. And that's absolutely true. Unfortunately, a lot of his shareholders disagreed with him totally. And of course, it is the shareholders who own the company. It's not Elon, it's the shareholders. They can vote through measures which force him to do various things. There was a lot of pressure put on him to do some advertising, particularly because he actually owns X. I was going to say Twitter for a minute. When are we going to stop saying Twitter? It's X. So anyhow, so a lot of very old, staid and stuck in the rut people decided that Tesla would benefit from advertising. Elon violently disagreed, but he had no choice, so he did some. The reason he disagreed was Tesla is not a company that's restricted by sales. This was last year. At the time, they were selling every single car they could produce. They still are to this day. Sales have slowed down, and some of the factories have slowed down proportionately with them, but they're matching whatever they make, they sell. They're not building up huge stocks like some of the others. They're selling pretty much all they sell. So what is the point in advertising for new sales if you're selling everything you make and you can't really produce a lot more? Last year, for example, they were battery constrained. They just didn't have enough batteries. Pleased to say that's now disappeared. But he advertised, and it was a total disaster. I mean, look at it now. He started advertising, and today, first quarter, sales are down. I know there's no correlation, but advertising is not the answer. So Elon turned around and said, that's it, they're gone. And he got rid of the whole department, lock, stock and barrel, absolutely gone. Absolutely useless. Why spend any money on advertising something we don't need to, and it achieves nothing? Now, Supercharger network is in a similar vein. You see, the Inflation Reduction Act over in America was the one that offered Tesla a massive amount of money from the government to expand the Supercharger network. Previously, Tesla had been paying for the expansion themselves, selling it, going out and finding sites and everything, and there was a whole team doing this. But once the IRA offered them a load of money, they were then in a position where they could say, right, let's build this network out, but we'll use someone else's money. Now, when the IRA then said to them, you've got to fit CCS2 plugs on your chargers, Tesla said, no, Not at all. We're not changing our plug. It's a very neat one. It's much better, much more powerful, take much more power and current than the CCS2. We're sticking with this, and the IRA realised they weren't going to move them. So this became red line in the sand. Can't go over. And the IRA backed down and said, okay, we'll allow you to do your North American charger standards, NACS, the plug. And so immediately Ford said, great, we're in on this, because Ford was suffering, their sales were suffering because people couldn't find reliable chargers away from the Tesla superchargers. So Ford said, yeah, let us fit your socket on all our cars starting late this year, and all the cars from next year onwards. And that means all of our drivers can then go along to any of your superchargers. Problem solved. We don't have to worry about charging anymore. Don't have to put any money into it. So then GM followed, and everyone's followed. Every single manufacturer in the world. I think Toyota hasn't yet. I think Nissan maybe. Anyway, everyone else in America has said, yeah, we'll go with the NOCS, North American Charging Standard. So over there, overnight, Tesla were receiving shed loads of money to install Supercharger when previously they had been paying for it themselves. And all of these car companies now, the Fords and the Stellantis and the GMs and everyone, they're all now fitting the Tesla socket, the NACS socket. And this is now a no-brainer. The supercharging network is already the largest in the world, certainly the largest in America. For ultra-rapids, there are smaller chargers, rapid and fast chargers where there are more. But for ultra-rapids, Tesla's got the absolute domination. And what Elon said to his department is, why am I paying you? What are you actually doing? We got manufacturers queuing up to adopt our system. Also, by the way, they want to adopt our software. So why are we paying 400 people to promote something that everybody wants? So they went. Now, they haven't got rid of the manufacturing side of it. That hasn't changed. They're still manufacturing. They're actually contracted to make a certain number anyhow. In the UK, BP Pulse ordered $100 million worth. Over here, EV Point, which is now, I believe, EV on the go, they've done a deal with Tesla. So they are committed to manufacturing, and they're committed to expanding the supercharger network. That hasn't changed at all. What they've done, they've got rid of, in my opinion, what he thought was dead wood. We don't need people promoting this. Takes me back to a film. Don't know if anyone knows it. Dave, where an impressionist took over the White House, became president. Look it up, it's a great one. But he was tasked with saving money, and he found that the American government was paying people to make them happy with their purchase that they'd already made, and saw it. Why are we paying people who've already bought something to make sure they're happy with it? And this, I think, is Elon's philosophy. It is very much the same. We don't need a lot of this. We need the superchargers, but the IRA is shoveling loads of money in our way, so we're going to keep on making them. Over in the UK, we actually had an advantage over here, and I think that upset him as well. We got V4s in the UK before they went in the States. According to my figures, I might be slightly wrong, but I'm pretty certain that we had them here first. They were certainly in Europe first, and we got the second one, which was at Tottenham. So we were way ahead on the V4s. I've looked at open to all chargers, and of course the V4s are specifically designed to be used for other cars. Other than Tesla. Teslas always have the charging port rear left, and the chargers are also rear left, so it's a very short cable, and that didn't suit BMW. Put it on the rear right, didn't work, so they had to use the next bay to do it, etc. So on the new V4s, they got a 4.5 metre cable. You've probably seen me walking out with it. It's massive length now. You can charge any car now from one single bay. So there's a lot going on, and at the beginning of the year I did a count up of all of the superchargers that are open to everyone. Anyone with CCS2, open to them. And I counted 42, and that was in a video I released in January. I did a count this week. There are now 66. And that's what, 24 locations increase. Now, some of those were just opening up ones that were already there. Others were brand new ones. So down my part where I came from, down in Cornwall, that one, the one in Campbell near Poole, that one's been opened up to all. That's an existing one. But just up the road from there, Fradden, there's a brand new one going in that's been stuck for ages in legal or DNO or whatever it is. They're all in, but just haven't been switched on. So there's a massive amount going in. And what people don't realise is someone like Osprey, they claim they've got about 1,000 chargers out there. And they have, I'm not doubting them. But most of them are the 50 kilowatts, 50 or 60. These are the older ones. And it's only more recently they've gone on to the 150s and the 300s, are really neat units. So Osprey probably has 300 or 400, maybe 500 ultra rapid chargers. Ionity, I think last count was about 170. Fastnet, a couple of hundred. These are the sort of sizes of the chargers that we see all the time. Grid server's not reached 1,000 yet. But this increase, the 66 chargers now, superchargers open to all, and an average Tesla supercharger has about 12 bays. Some of them 24, 32, very few down in the 8s or 10s, but most of them around about 12. So if you take 60 locations, each of them having 12, that's 700, 800 charging bays. That's bigger than Osprey, bigger than Ionity, bigger than Fastnet, bigger than probably bigger than GridServe. And that's just the ones that are open to all. That's not the ones that they still hold, which are held back as exclusive to Tesla. So this is absolutely massive. It's gaining pace at a phenomenal rate, and this is going to take over in time. And really good news, that is going to have a knock-on effect on the price. I've done a separate video on this. There's a new one coming out probably this weekend or early next week, which is looking at why the prices are going to come down, because many people just still haven't seen this, but we're going to go into that in detail. Now, a real puzzler for you. Toyota CEO Koji Sato announces record sales and profits and production levels. I agree, the figures are great. But here's my problem. You see, worldwide sales and profits at record levels, but so too is their overall debt. Over the last 20 years, their debt has grown every single year, apart from 3. And while debt has grown at over 10% on average each year, the drop in debt on those 3 occasions was as little as 0.35% and 2.8%. How can a company with record sales and record profits continuously increase its debt? And it's not just them. Ford debt, 142 billion. General Motors, 122 billion. Stellantis, 37 billion. That's actually rather good. Volkswagen, 210 billion. So all these companies are out there making record sales, record profits, record everything, but also record debt. And that to me doesn't add up. Someone somewhere is getting that money and it's going somewhere or to someone. Interesting question. Maybe we ought to have a look. Well, over in Europe, the French finance minister announces Chinese BYD is welcome to set up factories in France. It coincides with a visit from President Xi, who's going to see Paris. Maybe someone should tell Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commissioner, she's still out there trying to drum up support for a huge tariff on Chinese imports, backdated. Well, also troubling is the fact that BYD are in talks with NIO to expand. See, let BYD in, who else do you let in? Well, the only answer ultimately is open trade. Just concentrate on the products and services that you are good at and have an advantage with, and abandon those that don't. See, we in the UK, we fought tooth and nail to keep British auto industry manufacturing, kept them afloat long after it was a dead duck. Didn't work, poured billions into it, didn't work, it all went bust. Now, the crash of 2008 was not predicted because most people in the know believed that some industries are too big to fail. They weren't. See, maybe some other industries are about to fail. Interesting. We'll talk your failure. Audi sees profits plunge 74% on supply issues, and revenue fell nearly 20%. While claiming supply issues, it's a regular excuse over the last few years, Stellantis, Mercedes and VW all also report problems with falling markets, mainly China, and reduced profit and revenue. Audi report or claim that a part in dispute was flagged up in early summer last year, and for about 8 months they could not sell any of their V6 or V8 engine cars. Finally, 30th of April, Audi announced new suppliers being found, but how long is that going to be before they can start to deliver in volume? And, more importantly, will the customers still be waiting? Well, finally, we have the news we've all been waiting for. The Cybertruck is heading our way. Yeah, it's on a world tour and will be visiting the UK. I'll bring you details later once they're all confirmed. Everyone, especially the haters, the deniers and the EV critics who said it would never happen, and then when it did, said it would never sell, then when it did, well, they ought to get there and go and have a look at it. They should be there just to see it and ridicule it. Anyway, Optimus Robot is already here. Up close, it is so ridiculously impressive. It is amazing to see. You've got to go and see it. I'll give you details in a future video where it is and when. I, probably like most people, we envisage a Robocop type effort. This is not that. This is an absolute masterpiece when you get up close and touch it and you see what's there. It is a superb example of technology, engineering, design and a precision, and it's simply everything. Yeah, I know I'm a Tesla fanboy, but this is amazing. If you go and see it, you will be impressed. You will be changed. See, we've had robots for decades, but 99% of them are firmly bolted to the floor, can only do specific tasks like taking a metal sheet and stamping it out, moving it on, but it's always fixed to the floor. And I know many of you are going to quote Boston Dynamics. They've been going, 30 years now. They've had Spot the Dog for over a decade. The difference is SpaceX owns one, and they use that to go into the launch pad immediately after a launch to check it's all safe for humans to go in, just for checking it's all right. Spot the Dog costs $75,000. While the main robot, the one you've seen dancing along with the dog, that one is between $300,000 and $500,000. Wow! No wonder they're not selling many. No, that one, apparently they're trying to find a use for it. They're training that one up to load lorries slowly. That's the training and the loading speed. Well, total sales from Boston Dynamics is somewhere in the region of just over 500 units worldwide over the last 30 years. Tesla started Optimus back in 2022. They had the first model on display that same year. Today, they're on the third generation and likely to enter mass production later this year with over 1,000 units and enter 2025 with over 10,000 units being targeted. And at a price cheaper than a car. That's in the £25,000 to £30,000 range. This is easily affordable by many, far more adaptable. Loading lorries, what a waste of a robot. This thing is going to do so much more. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Once again, if you haven't, please subscribe. We're heading slowly towards 10,000 subscribers, and sometimes we feel we just need a little push. Subscribing costs you nothing, but it tells YouTube that many people want to watch our content, and so puts our content in front of new audiences. We're now working hard to get out and meet our Patreon members. An initial trip to Bristol made a good start. We'll be keeping our members in touch, with where and when we're going on our filming trips. You see, while a mass meeting, meet the viewers, is hugely beneficial, it's also very time consuming and it's very disrupting to filming. We don't do any. Meeting just a few members while we're filming, they can even get involved, is absolutely not disrupting to us at all. In fact, can add a new element. So, all you members out there, have patience. I will get round to your area soon, and I will let you know where and when we are when we go out on our filming expeditions. So thanks very much. I'm Dave.